If you're a fan of Indian tennis and are one of those people who wants to see the sport grow in India, then, well, this recent development will not actually be one that you would be a very big fan of. What exactly is the development? Well, the Maharashtra Open, which is known for sponsorship reasons, is the Tata Open, an ATP 250 event that is in fact or has been held in India for a long time now, will unfortunately no longer be taking place. And that sounds like bad news to you. Trust me when I say it is, because the broader implications of this move will actually have some pretty big ramifications. So without further ado, in this video, what we're going to do is talk about what those big changes are, why such changes happen, and of course, what exactly were the reasons behind this sudden demise of the Maharashtra Open and the kind of impact that it will have on the future of the sport going forward. First, let's talk about what exactly happened. Now, this has been an event that has been going on for 27 years. The recent edition took place in 2023, the ATP 250 event. It was first hosted in Delhi all the way back in 1996. Thereafter, it spent 21 years in Chennai, and for the last 5 years has been held in Pune. It's held in the beginning of the year. This year it was held in January, but the event is now being moved to Hong Kong. And if you're wondering why exactly it is that the event is going to be moving out of India to Hong Kong of all places, well, then it actually has a lot to do with the fact that the authorities in India didn't act quickly enough, and that the two major stakeholders of this particular tournament who needed to come together to act and ensure that the tournament stayed in India, well, there were some very differing demands from both of them. Now, it is worth noting that MSLTA, which is of course the Maharashtra State Lawn Tennis Association, and IMG were the rights holders. Their deal, it ended in this particular year, so there was always a danger that unless it was renewed quickly enough, there would in fact be no more ATP tennis tour in India, and both parties were in fact unable to agree on a new deal altogether. In fact, IMG's demands were quoted as being unviable by the MSLTA. And if you're wondering what exactly the demands were, well, we have you covered in that regard too. And when you hear them, you'd understand why exactly it is that MSLTA found it unviable. This exactly is what their demands were. IMG wanted to ensure that all of these major costs, which is the hosting rights, the prize money, and the operating costs, were borne by the MSLTA. So the hosting rights comes up to around approximately rupees 8.3 crores, whereas the prize money overall would be coming in at about 5.8 crores for the winners, runners-up, and everyone else in between. Whereas the operating costs would be 5 crore rupees. Now, again, this is a lot of money, because if we go 8 plus 5 plus 5 is 18 crores. In fact, that's nearly 19 crores of money that the MSLTA were expected to just sink in. Whereas what IMG would do is that they'd retain the broadcast rights for both digital and television. Now, if that sounds like a bad deal to you, that is in fact exactly what it was, which is why the MSLTA said, look, this deal doesn't work for us, and unfortunately matters were taken out of the hands, because the ATP then chose to shift this tournament out of India and take it to Hong Kong, where they had a ready-made deal in place. Now, the problem, in case you're wondering, tennis is a sport that in India already struggles for traction. You remember that a few months back when India were playing in the Davis Cup World Group stages, they ended up losing out and then were relegated into the second division of that particular cup, and that is prestigious. It's a prestigious event, but more worrying than that is also the fact that really there's no talent pool when it comes to a sport like tennis in India. And having an event wherein you could actually, attract some of the top players from the world to come to India, because of course with ATP events there are ranking points associated. Having an event like that actually would have helped, garner a little bit of attention from the locals. Also, more importantly than that, would help give Indian players who aren't really ranked that high a chance to shine in front of locals. Now, you're not going to have that chance, and it does in fact seem yet another blow for a sport that, truth be told, enjoys popularity around the world, but which, despite having a fan following in India, doesn't seem to produce the level of talent. Now, I'm not saying having an ATP event is the only way to ensure the talent is produced, but if you are not considered good or important enough to be hosting events of the world stature, then, well, it doesn't really talk much about your standing in the world sport. And truth be told, this does just hammer home a point further on that maybe, just maybe, more needs to be done for the sport of tennis in order to ensure that it becomes a viable option for for children to take up in the future. And once more local talent comes about, you might actually end up getting these tournaments back and seeing more people shine on the world stage. You just don't have that right now, and losing this event just kind of proves what it is your standing is in the sport of tennis. At least that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think? You can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and don't forget to download the AajTak app as well. Plus, if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. For now, from my side, goodbye.